You're listening to iFan Sports Talk Radio. And now, live from Studio 215 in Low Country, South Carolina. Welcome to the Live in 5 show with your host, Nikki Fu.
Okay, everybody, it is episode 37, Live in 5 show. This is your host, Nikki Fu. Hope you all enjoyed watching the NFC-AFC championship games and what controversy we did have in those two games. But regardless, the Super Bowl 53 matchup is set, featuring the LA Rams against the New England Patriots. The Patriots go into their 9th Super Bowl, going for Super Bowl win number 6 to tie the Pittsburgh Steelers. The opening line opened up at LA -1. That quickly changed when everybody hopped on the New England bandwagon, and now, boom, we have the Patriots favored by 1.5. Tell me your thoughts on the Super Bowl by commenting on our videos below in our YouTube channel or on our Twitter page. You can find us at #iFanTalk or at iFanTalk on Twitter, and also comment on our Facebook page by searching us on #iFanTalk. But we're going to get away from the Super Bowl right now. We got 2 weeks to talk about that, so we are going to go back to the Antonio Brown drama. And I know in our last episode, episode 36, I talked about the two teams that I think will make the trade for Antonio Brown and who the Steelers should trade him to. It was Carolina and Tampa Bay. I thank everybody for joining me in your comments on that video. Now I'm going to talk about this episode on the trade is, if I was Kevin Colbert, the general manager of the Steelers, what would I be looking for, and what 5 teams or 5 trades I would pull off? And I'd rank these. I'm going to rank these 5 trades between 5 down to 1 being the most likely trade I would pull off for Antonio Brown, and we'll get right to it. So at number 5, I don't think this is going to really happen, but the San Francisco 49ers holding that number 2 pick. Highly unlikely the Niners drop or trade that pick to the Steelers for Antonio Brown straight up. I think San Francisco will mostly come with a package. Maybe a couple number 2s, or maybe a number 2 and maybe a number 1 next year. Players, I don't see any players on the Niners that the Steelers are really looking for. So if I was Kevin Colbert, I'd be going to San Francisco saying, give me your number 2 right now. We have a deal. Antonio Brown jers. You can have all his drama. See you later. Enjoy. Number 4 would be pretty interesting with all the drama that came up this week with Emmanuel Sanders on the NFL Network talking about Antonio Brown, and then Antonio Brown firing back at Emmanuel Sanders on his Twitter, and also firing back at Bruce Arians. But if I was the Steelers, I would be asking Denver for Emmanuel Sanders and the number 10 pick in the draft, and then I would send AB to Denver, and I'd probably throw in our 3rd round pick, which is the number 83 overall. Emmanuel Sanders had played in 12 games last year, 74 receptions, 868 yards, and not too many TDs, only 4 touchdowns. But it'd be nice to see Emmanuel Sanders back in Pittsburgh. He flourished pretty well there. The Steelers pretty much picked Antonio over him, allowed him to leave via free agency. He's got a Super Bowl ring with the Broncos. He's had a nice career over there. But I think John Elway and the management and the Broncos organization would choose Antonio Brown over Emmanuel Sanders any day. What would Antonio Brown be happy there with the quarterback situation going on in Denver? Number 3, I would say the Green Bay Packers. If I was the Steelers, I'd be asking for wide receiver Geronimo Allison, the number 12 and number 32 pick. Green Bay has 2 first-round picks. Give me the number 12. Give me number 32. The Steelers would in turn then give their number 1 to Green Bay along with AB. So the Steelers would get a up-and-coming wide receiver. He only played in 5 games last year. Allison did, and he got 20 receptions, but he had 354 yards in those 5 games and 2 touchdowns. So he's got a lot of potential. So that's the trade I would do. Geronimo Allison, number 12 and number 32. Steelers in turn would give the number 20 and AB. Number 2, this is a long shot over here, but if I was the Steelers, the Steelers are always looking for defensive back help, and there was a rumor had it earlier on this year when Patrick Peterson asked for a trade from Arizona that Steelers were interested. So Kevin Colbert, if I was him, I would say, hey, give me Patrick Peterson and give me your second round pick, number 3 overall. It would be a late, to me, I'd consider that like a late first round. And then I would send you AB, and I would send you our 3rd round pick, which is number 83 overall. That would be a great trade for the Steelers, and I think both sides win. And Arizona gets in a 3rd round pick, and they get the top wide receiver in the draft to help out their young quarterback core. And then number 1, this is the trade I would probably like to see happen, and it could happen. The Carolina Panthers again. And the Carolina Panthers, I would ask the Carolina for their 1st round pick, which is the number 16 overall pick. Throw in wide receiver Curtis Samuel. He had 39 receptions last year, 494 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 13 games. A good number 2 receiver. I could see him fitting well behind Juju Smith-Schuster. And the Steelers would then send their 4th round pick, which is number 116, to Carolina along with AB. So those are my top 5 picks. We're going to wait to see what happens. You never know. The Steelers might just hold on to AB. They might kiss and make up before the March 13th deadline. But tell me your thoughts by messaging us on either Facebook, Twitter, comment on our YouTube page. Any comments you put on my YouTube channel, I will respond to you via email, or I even might mention you in our next episode. I want to thank everybody for joining us. This is your host, Nicky Fu. I thank you for joining the episode 37 of the iFan Live in 5 show. I will see all you folks down the road.